2019 has been great in a number of ways. Brands that were known for making amazing budget phones have been coming up with flagship phones. Redmi brought the K20 Pro with the Snapdragon 855 chip, and now Realme has launched the X2 Pro with the Snapdragon 855 Plus chip. Does that Plus make a difference? Let's find out. My name is Ashwin Sundar, and we are gonna compare some practical stuff like the CPU performance, app opening times, internet speed test, and even the speed of the fingerprint scanners. Let's get started. Both these phones come with amazing Super AMOLED displays, so first things first, protect them with a tempered glass from our sponsor Glazed Ink. What's special about Glazed Ink is that they have actual 2.5D curved glass along the edges, so the entire screen is covered, no air bubbles or awkward gaps like these, which you might get from installing any other tempered glass in the market. They are also available for most other phones including the OnePlus 7T and the Redmi Note 8 Pro. So do check out Glazed Ink, link in the description, use the promo code TJOC to get 10% discount. Now guys, note that I turned off all sorts of power saving modes on both phones. There is a performance mode on the X2 Pro, I enabled it, so both phones will perform at their peak levels. On the K20 Pro it was a bit annoying, had to disable restrictions for every app individually. Anyway, do note that both phones are connected to the same Wi-Fi, location is on too. Number 2, the app switcher is cleared, there is nothing in the background. And number 3, both phones were factory reset before this test and the same set of apps have been installed on both. No existing app has been uninstalled. Now let's first test the fingerprint scanners. Both phones have the latest tech. They use in-display scanners to recognize your fingerprint. In-display scanners are generally slow when compared to capacitive ones, but the one on the X2 Pro is a clear exception. It's insanely fast. The K20 Pro on the other hand takes a bit more time. On the X2 Pro, you don't even need to tap the scanner for a fraction of a second. That's how fast it is. Let's now move on to app opening times. Let's start with the Twitter app. Not much difference. Scrolling through the feed also feels equally responsive on both. There is no lag. Of course, the X2 Pro feels smoother because it has a 90Hz panel. Instagram, again, not much difference. JioSaavn, the K20 Pro opened it first. Prime Video, same result. Google Drive, the X2 Pro opened it a fraction of a second earlier. YouTube, equally fast. Same with Google Maps, although the content loaded is different. Google Photos, again equally fast. Zomato, the K20 Pro was a tad faster. Let's open some games now, starting with Subway Surfers. The X2 Pro opened it first. The K20 Pro was slightly slower. What about PUBG? The X2 Pro opened it around 2 seconds before the K20 Pro did. Next up, Call of Duty Mobile, my favorite. Once again, the X2 Pro loads it faster. Now the last row of apps, all very light ones. Not a big difference, but the X2 Pro loads them like they're already open in the background. It opens them instantly. Chrome, K20 Pro. Camera, K20 Pro. As in, the K20 Pro lets you click a photo earlier. So overall, the K20 Pro was slightly faster than the X2 Pro for opening light apps like Chrome, Zomato, JioSaavn, and so on. But the difference wouldn't even be noticeable unless you open them side by side like shown in the video. But when it comes to slightly heavier ones like those 3 games, the X2 Pro is clearly the faster of the two. Let's now check out the background app management. As in, we need to check whether the apps that we opened are still open in the background. For example, we started Subway Surfers. Let's see if the phone lets you continue the game instead of reloading it from scratch. So the bottom row of apps, Camera, Chrome, Messages, Phone, everything opens instantly. Call of Duty unfortunately reloads on both phones, which means you can't really pause a game, open a few other apps, and then come back to resume the game. You would have lost the progress. The Redmi K20 Pro has PUBG open in the background, but the X2 Pro reloads it from scratch. Similar fate for the X2 Pro while opening Subway Surfers, it reloads the game. Even Zomato is reloaded by the X2 Pro. Remember, we turned off all sorts of battery saving modes and stuff. Again, the X2 Pro reloads Google Photos, but it only takes a fraction of a second anyway. Google Maps, same result. YouTube, again, the same thing has happened. Google Drive, for a change, both phones reloaded it. The remaining 3 apps took a bit of time to load on both phones, didn't look like they were open in the background. Honestly, the X2 Pro's background app management has been disappointing. Not just games, even most of the light apps were not open in the background, causing the system to reload all of them from scratch. Let's now go ahead and perform a video render test. I'm using Adobe Premiere Clip to get it done. The same video has been loaded onto both phones. It's the exact same project. The speed of the footage is set to 50% and we are going to render it in 1080p resolution. Rendering is a heavy task. It really brings out the best in a chipset. I completely understand that you're not going to be rendering videos on a phone, at least not on a daily basis. But the thing is, since this puts so much pressure on the chipset, this result would be a good reflection of how other heavy games and other intensive tasks might perform on these phones. Because playing and using apps is different from opening them. Simply opening apps and games is all about the storage speed. Both phones have UFS 2.1 storage, and that's one of the reasons we saw almost similar speeds for the most part. Here the X2 Pro has taken the lead, and it's surprising. Yes, the X2 Pro has the better chip, I know that, but the thing is, it's far ahead of the K20 Pro. The X2 Pro finishes the render in just 1 minute, while the K20 Pro, wait, let me fast forward. The K20 Pro does it in 1 minute 33 seconds. That's almost 50% slower. I didn't expect this big of a difference. Let's also quickly do an internet speed test. I have a 100 Mbps connection from ACT FiberNet. When we do a side-by-side comparison, both phones manage to get to around 35 Mbps. Let's do the test one after the other. The X2 Pro hovers around the 90 Mbps mark. The K20 Pro gets around 80 Mbps speeds. Not bad. But the X2 Pro has a slight edge. We are almost done with the video. Let's quickly reboot the phones. Fast forwarding again. Well, here the K20 Pro is much faster. And here are some benchmark tests if you're interested. So that's it. You saw the test, you know it's not easy to conclude because we got slightly mixed results. But overall, I think it's safe to say the X2 Pro wins the test. It was noticeably faster at opening games, much faster at rendering, and its in-display fingerprint scanner is the fastest ever on a phone. And yeah, it performed the internet speed test better too. The K20 Pro on the other hand was better at background app management, app opening times and reboot times. Like I said, overall I would give it to the X2 Pro because the higher end models with 128GB and 256GB, those models have UFS 3.0 storage. And honestly, app opening times were almost similar. The differences were in milliseconds probably. And rebooting the phone is not something we do frequently. So from a practical standpoint, the X2 Pro is slightly faster overall. But again, honestly, I don't think you should pick one of these phones based on speed. Because you saw the test, it's not like one phone is much faster than the other. I feel you should look at some other stuff. I'll definitely come up with a camera comparison and even a full comparison very soon. Subscribe to Technology Jock and hit the bell icon for that. That's it. Thanks for watching. This is Ashwin Sundar and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.